All right, that worked out pretty well. I'm happy with that result. It looks good. I mean, the eyeball test, it passes that. So the next thing to do is to locate center here and then transfer my marks from these pieces to my actual frame, and then go to work and cut those in. So I'm going to take, I guess I'll just use my tape measure. Whatever method, I should set up a story stick now that I think about it. Set up a reference stick so that both of these are in line when they get mounted to the box. Incidentally, I put X's on the bottom of the stiles so that I knew when I put it together they'll be exactly the same distance here and square. So let me get the center mark made, find center, make a story stick. Okay, no need to make a story stick. I just use my adjustable square with this 18-inch ruler. It's 13 1/4 from the bottom. So I carefully made that measurement there and there. Kind of bent it down into the opening there, 1/8 of an inch. Made my marks on either side of this. Made some marks here, which I will transfer down late here in a minute. I'm just making them a little bit longer this time. After not too much thought, I cannot go any farther with these because they have to match in depth. So I've got to go inside, and I'll cut them to length once I get these mortises made here. I'm just going to use a router, 1/4 inch bit. I'll set it to depth, and then I'll finish it up with a chisel. But this setup here is going to allow me to access all 6 of these without any problem. Okay, this does not provide much of a surface to just freehand it. So I've taken one of the offcuts, double, carpet taped it to the base here. And now I should be able to do what I want. I can see my marks. And I'll just take it nice and slow. Just clamped a piece of Baltic birch, a 1/2 inch plywood there. Okay, hindsight's always 20/20. I got these cut to rough length. You can't see the 2 ends that I'm looking at here, but I've got them butted up against that 1/8 inch kerf for the glass, and this one is set in. The center is set in, and I can see that I've got to take a little off of that end, and when I do, I'm going to just do that with my shooting board until that just fits. Then I'll see how much I have to take off on the other end. But it's not much, so that's why I left it just a hair long. I'm going to use my shooting board, and then the same thing on the left here. They're identical. So I can. This end is, you can see a little bit of gap there. That's how much I need to take off on that end. So shooting board a few times, bring it back, just keep checking until it fits, and then we will take it from there. So here's the big picture, I guess. So now you can see where I've got it butted up against this lip. It won't go in on this end. You know, it's a hair long. So I'll jog them this way a little bit first until this looks like it's going to clear. Then I'll see if I have to remove any material on that end. All right, there it is. It fits pretty well. It stands proud of the mortises I've cut, and they're all consistent because I used the router. So I think I'm just going to pare those down a little bit. I'd rather these be a little bit past, and the other solution is just to sand these down, I suppose, but you got to be careful taking these out. I don't want to break them. Maybe it was just the corner there. Check the other one. Yeah, I think I've got to just fine tune those a little bit, the depth. I like this fit here. This is good. All right, well, you got the basic idea there. So I'll tune up these mortises a little bit. And then we will go from there. Okay, this is my second door, and this method that I used on this one was much better than the first one. These long styles were cut to length first, rough length first, and then I used my shooting board to get a perfect fit. Same thing was done with this piece. I had my setup previously for making the half lap, you know, perfectly in thirds here to get the divided light, and then these were just done by putting this right in the middle. My half laps in the middle, and it turned out to be much easier to do it that way. Now this was my setup for the previous door, and it's just just a whisker off. I've got just a little bit of daylight between here and this centerpiece, the rail. So I'll take that into account when I put the doors in, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that to make sure that these rails are perfectly in line and with each other and then with the shelf. But I like this method much better. Cut these pieces to length and then just lay it out and put it in.